What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another what to buy on eBay video. You guys seem to like these videos, so I put together another one focused on vintage Kenner Star Wars items as well as CGC 9.8 graded Star Wars comic books. And I've got some logic behind some of these, and I span the gamut from relatively inexpensive to extremely pricey depending on your budget. But all of these are items that I would take a look at. I'd consider pretty closely. And before I begin any further, I want to say thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys allow me to make more and better videos. I really appreciate the Patreon support. If you are interested in becoming a Patreon member, it's patreon.com/actionfiguregrader. Let's dig into some extremely nice items that are on eBay right now for sale as of the making of this video. I can't promise by the time you watch this that they're still here, but at least right now they're for sale. And the first one is a 48 back transition card, free Nien Return of the Jedi IG-88. What a mouthful. That's what she said. This is a really nice card, and it's got a beautiful blister, nice and clear. It does have a little bit of creasing going on. You can see at the very top above the hang tab, there's a little bit of damage, and that crease goes all the way down. I think that this is on the borderline between a 75 plus and an 80. But it's a transition card, meaning that once they took the Empire Strikes Back packaging and moved over to the Return of the Jedi packaging, there was a brief time period where these 48 back free Nien offers were made, and they only were made with Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars figures, not any of the Return of the Jedi figures. And they're very valuable. They continue to go up in price. And I've seen a very high-grade example of this one sell for as high as, it was crazy. It was like $1,200. So to get IG-88 with a clear blister that's kind of in a 75 plus to 80 range for $5.99 plus $12 shipping is a pretty good price. There's 20 watchers right now. 3 watchers within the last 24 hours. I've been watching this one for about a week or two now. I'm really surprised this thing has not sold, and it's also make an offer. If you can get it for $5.50 to $5.75, I would grab it if you're in the market for one. I'm so tempted, but I'm not going to buy any of the items on this video, I promise. And this one's a great deal, though. I'd consider this one pretty heavily. If you can get that, especially around $5.50, I would take that all day long. Next up, we've got High Republic Adventures #2, the standard cover. And this is the first full appearance of Marchion Ro. Now, I want to go back a little ways to talk about when Marchion Ro's origin story was implemented in a comic series called Eye of the Storm. When that comic series was announced and all the way into the first issue of that series, this book was selling for close to $200, and it has since come back down in price. There are 16 watchers right now for this item. It's $99 plus $12 shipping. This is a screaming deal. I don't have this book, and I'm tempted to buy it, but I've got like 50 different CGC 9.8 High Republic Universe comics, and I need a break. I just can't do it anymore. So, but this is one I'd really consider. This is also the first comic book appearance of Lula Taliasola. She is a Jedi, but this is more important because it's the first full appearance of Marchion Ro, the main villain within the High Republic universe. At $99, that's about half price of where the peak price was for this book. And CGC comics have come back down in price a little bit. The whole comic book market has softened a little bit. So now's a really good time to pick this key issue up before the High Republic gets the live action or the cartoon treatment on Disney+. This is a great buy. I would buy that right now. This seller, Nova Toy Store, has several DCA-graded die-cast vintage Star Wars vehicles for sale, and they are all fantastic prices. Here is a DCA 80 Cloud Car. I'm really tempted by this one because this is one I still need in my collection. It's only $275 plus $14 shipping. That's a great price. I think that the thing that's holding me back is that this case is one of the original AFA/DCA cases, and it also has the label up top. It's just hideous compared to what Collector Archive Services offers with their loose graded die-cast cases. And so I can't do it. I just can't do it. This is just not a pretty enough case for me. But if you're into AFA stuff, this is a great deal because we've documented several U85 and U90s that sold recently on eBay for triple this price. So I think this is a great price. I would buy it if you are okay with that case. I just don't like the case. And likewise, he's also got a DCA 85 Snow Speeder for $350. There's 22 watchers on this one, so I think this one's going to sell any minute. But again, I've already got this one graded by Collector Archive Services, and I really prefer the casing on mine versus how this one is cased up. But if you are looking for loose graded die casts, you can't do any better than these prices. I would jump on these, because the other thing to keep in mind, DCA does not loose grade Star Wars vintage die-cast vehicles anymore. They stopped doing it. So there's a pretty limited population of these loose graded die-casts, and this is an 85 grade Near Mint Plus for $350. It's not a bad price. Next up, I've got a couple of Darth Maul #2s that are for sale, and obviously this is the first full comic book appearance of Cad Bane, and at least right now, according to the canon, Cad Bane is dead. He quote-unquote died in the Book of Boba Fett in the last episode, maybe it was the second to last episode, I can't remember. But I still think Cad Bane's coming back and he's not dead yet. But as a result, the price of this book went from about $350 to $400, and then after he appeared in the Book of Boba Fett, it jumped all the way up to almost $1,100. Now it's back down to about $345 or less in an auction, but I wanted to show a couple of buy it nows. This is listed at $345. This is a CGC 9.8. Again, it's the first full comic book appearance of Cad Bane, as it's labeled there on the CGC label. Pretty good value. Pretty good value. I've already got it, but I would consider it. Here's another one that's for sale. This one's listed for $350 with free shipping. 6 watchers on this one. You might be able to do better in an auction. Don't get me wrong. You might be able to get it closer to $300, but I still think Cad Bane is going to come back at some point. So, to me, if you can get it for around this price, great. If you want to be more patient, wait for an auction, go for it. But I at least wanted to show you a couple that are for sale right now that have not been purchased that I think are pretty much fair market value, maybe slightly above, but not by much. Here is an AFA 80 original First 12 C3PO. It is the older style case, but it does have the dowels at least. But an AFA 80 3PO, it's listed for $214.99, plus it's make an offer. There are 11 watchers on this one, so I don't expect this one to last long. Again, could you do better in an auction? Probably, but if you can make an offer, a lowball offer of like $175 and just see what he says, I think that's a pretty good price for an AFA 80 Hong Kong C3PO. Next up, this is a bare bottom price for a book that I think will eventually go back up, and that's Crimson Reign #1. This is the first full comic book appearance of a couple of different bounty hunters. It's got a great cover with Kira, Darth Vader, and Emperor Palpatine. This is the standard cover, so this is very plentiful, very readily available. But this is only $42 plus $10.70 shipping. That's a pretty good price for a CGC 9.8 book with a couple of first appearances. And I think if Kira does reappear in her own show, as has been rumored for Disney Plus, whether it happens or not, I don't know. But if Emilia Clarke does reprise her role as Kira, this book is going to go up. Obviously, her first full comic book appearance is Solo Adaptation #1, but that's a $250 to $300 book. I think this is a nice alternative. I mean, you really can't go wrong here. And as I talk about in many of these what to buy videos, it's a pretty low risk proposition to get this for $42 plus $10 shipping. I think that's a good buy. Next up, we got a loose graded UKG 80% Han Hoth. And let's see if we can get a closer look at the label. This is a Hong Kong. The figure got an 85. The paint subscore is an 80 for an overall 80%. This has got the brand new laser cut case, though, by UKG. How beautiful are those accessory cases for the blaster pistol on this Han? It's 80%. I think that's probably appropriately graded. It's only $97 US or $77.50 Great British pounds. And I tried to include some items over in the UK for my UK viewers. This is not a bad buy at all. I mean, $77.50 is pretty cheap. And here's another one that I was awfully tempted by, but I'm not going to get it. It's one I still need loose graded, and that's a No COO Bosk. So these would appear like on the Palatoy or the Palatoy Tri logos, No COO version of Bosk. And this was graded 80%. Again, brand new case. This is 100 pounds or 125 US. That's not a terrible price either. I think that's a pretty good buy, in my opinion. Next up is one I wanted to talk about. This is Dr. Aphra Annual #1. And why is this book important? Well, it's the origin of Black Chrysantan. It's not his first full appearance. That is in Darth Vader #1 from, I believe, 2017. Don't quote me on that. I think it was 2017's version of Darth Vader #1. That book obviously spiked after Black Chrysantan showed up in the Book of Boba Fett, but I actually think this is the better book to get. Darth Vader #1 with Black Chrysantan's first appearance, there are 5 different printings. There are hundreds and hundreds of 9.8s. This book is not, though. This is the origin again of Black Chrysantan. It's a pretty good cover. I don't love it, but it's pretty good. But the reason I like it is if you look at the CGC census for this book, there's only 27 9.8s for this book. And I'll say this one is listed at $225 with $15.50 shipping. I've seen this one sell at a peak price of $350. Right when Black Chrysantan come out, this book jumped up really big. And obviously Black Chrysantan is going to make another appearance at some point. But this is the better book, in my opinion, versus his first appearance comic. Usually you want the first appearance always, right? I don't think that's the case with Black Chrysantan. This is a much more difficult 9.8 to find, given that there's only 27 on the census. And, you know, to me, this is a better buy, given that it's $225 and a pretty low census number. You know, there's only 35 of them graded total, with 27 of them being a 9.8 grade. So I would take a closer look at that book. Here's a baggie. This is a UKG 85% General Madine baggie. I believe this is the green-haired version. It's hard to tell based on the photo. It might just be too much exposure for the photo, but it does look like the Taiwan green hair. And again, it's graded 85%. It's listed for 130 pounds or $163 US. That's not a bad buy for a high-grade variant for General Madine. Here's another book that, you know, I'm tempted by, but the issue with this book is that this is Star Wars #50 from 1981, but it does have off-white to white pages. So it's not white pages. That's the only thing that kind of holds me back on it. But it's a fantastic cover. This is the first full comic book appearance of IG-88, the Bounty Hunter. And just a fantastic cover. And it's $235 plus $12.45 shipping. There's only a couple watchers on there, including me. You know, for a 9.8 with white pages, the only data point I found was 335. So this is significantly lower, mainly because it's not white pages. It's off white to white, which is a step down. But, you know, it's not a bad book. And if you're budget conscious right now, that's a pretty good price for a first appearance vintage 1981 original run Star Wars comic. Here's another pretty good buy. This is the SWA baggie for Bosk. This was sent in the mail-away box that you saw on the secret action figure ESB cards. So you would receive the box with a Bosk plus a little pamphlet, but this is just for the tape-sealed baggie. This is a trusted seller. He actually runs Rebel Hideout on Facebook, so you can probably get it for cheaper than the listed price of $240 on free shipping. But I actually bought his other one. He had 2 that were available. And mine should be here later this week. I bought the better of the 2 that had a little bit less wear to it, but this is not a bad price. I paid a lot more. I paid $275 for mine. But this is a fully sealed baggie. It is tape sealed. This is the SWA baggie. You can see it's very cleanly sealed there. But I've bought from Rebel Hideout many times. He is also on eBay. Get It Good is his seller name on eBay. But to get it cheaper, reach out to him on Facebook on Rebel Hideout. This was another screaming deal. I cannot believe this has not sold yet. This is a Biker Scout Hong Kong COO, graded 80% by UKG, the brand new case style with the etched accessory case. It's 92 pounds, which is about 116 US dollars. There's 10 watchers on this, so I expect this to sell, but that is a fantastic deal. And look how clean and white this figure is. That is a beautiful figure. Really nice and clean and white. I would buy that one all day long if I'm looking for a loose graded Biker Scout. A Last 17 figure. This is UKG 80%. This is 95 pounds or 119 US dollars. Anakin Skywalker, again, graded UKG 80. That's not a bad price at all. And again, that's the new laser cut accessory case, or a laser cut case. He doesn't have any accessories, but that's a pretty good price in my mind, given that it's 80%. 85, you know, AFA would be 200 to 250, so it's about half that price, and that's a pretty good deal. This is another one I think is a pretty good deal. It's got 9 watchers right now. It just got listed yesterday, and I expect this one to sell, but this is the Bespin security guard on the hybrid tri-logo, Palatoy 70 back. This is AFA 80, the subgrades are 80, 75, 80, and it's a beautiful item, unpunched, and here's the back of it that clearly shows that it's the hybrid tri-logo with kind of the Palatoy front, standard Palatoy card back front, but the tri-logo back. So these are called hybrids, and they only made them for certain characters. They made them for the Bespin security guard, the Cloud Car pilot, and then the Cantina aliens. So I would look at this one pretty closely. This is a pretty nice item. It's listed for $500 US plus $46 US shipping, at least to the US. It is in Norway. So that is what gives me hesitation on this one. I'm just a little bit worried that it wouldn't make it in transit over to me, but it's also make an offer, so you never know. I expect that one to sell pretty quickly. It's got 9 watchers right now. Next up, we got another CGC 9.8. This is Star Wars Jedi Mace Windu. There's no number to this one. This is a one-shot, but this is the first appearance of Asajj Ventress in comics. A beautiful Dark Horse book from 2003. Iconic cover. And right now it's listed for $650 with 7 watchers. It is make an offer. If you can get that closer to $600 or even slightly below $600, that's a good buy. That's a really good buy. That's on my want list, but now is not the time for that book, although it's really nice. Here and now, I think the last couple are pretty expensive items, so I'll preface that. But if you've got deep pockets, this is one that I would look at. This is the Lily Letty Cloud Car pilot, a very, very difficult Lily Letty, probably a top 3 in terms of difficulty Lily Letty to get. He's known for those really bright yellow paint applications. Look how bright yellow that is compared to the standard Hong Kong figure. And the communicator and blaster pistol are very tough to find for the Lily Letty. The communicator alone can go for $1,100 US. And this is listed for $1,750. It's an AFA 80 plus, so very, very high grade. $1,750 plus $1,445 shipping. It's got 23 watchers right now. It's also making an offer. Even at that list price, I think I would buy that. If I was in the market for it, I'd buy that right now. It's an awesome item. Easily one of the most expensive and most difficult Lily Lettys to find, with the exception of like the removable rocket Boba Fett and the non-removable hood and removable hood Jawas. This is on that list. It's easily a top 3 to top 5 figure. If you're into the Lily Letty figures, $1,750 is not a bad price at all, folks. Finally, another very expensive item. This is Star Wars Thrawn #1, but this is the Matina variant. This is the origin of Grand Admiral Thrawn, but this is the 1:50 ratio variant. What an iconic cover this is. This is extremely rare. I've only got the standard cover in a 9.8. This is, again, the origin story for Grand Admiral Thrawn, but this Matina variant cover that's only printed 1 for every 50 of the standard cover. It is a ghost. There's only roughly 57. There's 57 9.8s on the census for this book. So even though it's a fairly modern comic, it is a very, very tough one to find. So if you've got deep pockets and you're a big believer in Grand Admiral Thrawn like I am, this book will probably go back up. This hit a high of almost $4,000 during the peak of the market. Right now, again, it's listed for $3,000 plus $14 shipping. There are 10 watchers on it. I expect it to sell. It's a very, very nice item, but well outside of what I'm willing to spend for a modern comic. But wow, what an awesome cover. That's all I really had for this what to buy video. I hope you enjoyed looking at some CGC 9.8 Star Wars comics, as well as some loose graded, as well as some mint on card vintage Kenner items that are for sale right now on eBay. I hope you find something good. Happy hunting, and thanks for watching.